Every day, another story from the Golden Age returns, carrying with it the moments that shaped an unforgettable era. If you would like to preserve these memories together, you are welcome to subscribe. It costs nothing, yet it helps keep these stories alive. Thank you for being here. Now, let us begin. At 69, Tom Hanks has begun to speak more openly about truths long whispered behind closed doors, particularly when it comes to Rob Reiner and the quiet dynamics that shape influence inside Hollywood's inner circles. Born Thomas Jeffrey Hanks on July 9, 1956 in Concord, California, his life did not begin with comfort or certainty. His childhood was unsettled, marked by frequent moves and family changes after his parents separated. Raised largely by his father, Tom learned early how to navigate instability and adapt to shifting ground. Those early years required him to mature quickly. They sharpened his sensitivity to people, emotions, and the subtle spaces between words. He became a careful observer, absorbing gestures and unspoken feelings that others overlooked. Though his upbringing lacked ease, it quietly shaped the empathy and flexibility that later defined his screen presence. Everything shifted during college. Studying theater, Hanks discovered a deep connection to acting through the stage. After leaving school, he committed fully, taking small television roles where his timing and warmth stood out. In the early 1980s, bosom buddies introduced him to audiences, revealing a natural blend of physical comedy and sincerity that was impossible to miss. At first, Tom was carefully placed into a narrow frame. He was seen as the funny one, charming and lighthearted, rarely considered for serious dramatic work. Yet by the late 1980s, that image began to shift. Films like Splash, Big, and A League of Their Own quietly dismantled those assumptions, revealing a depth that had been overlooked for years. Big, in particular, revealed something uncommon. Tom portrayed innocence without exaggeration, wonder without sentimentality. The emotion felt natural, unforced, and deeply human. Critics took notice. That performance earned him his first Academy Award nomination and demonstrated his rare ability to anchor imaginative stories in emotional truth. From that moment on, Hollywood was forced to reconsider who Tom Hanks truly was. The 1990s would seal his legacy. Winning Academy Awards in consecutive years was almost unheard of, yet he achieved it with performances that could not be ignored. In Philadelphia, he delivered a compassionate and restrained portrayal of a man facing serious illness at a time when such stories were often avoided. His work invited empathy and challenged audiences to see past discomfort and fear. Then came Forrest Gump. On the surface, the character appeared simple, yet beneath it lived a profound emotional current. The film became a cultural landmark, and Tom showed how silence, restraint, and sincerity could speak louder than grand gestures. As his career matured, Tom avoided shallow choices. He gravitated toward stories rooted in humanity, inner strength, and emotional endurance. In Saving Private Ryan, he embodied quiet leadership and the psychological weight of conflict. And in Castaway, with minimal dialogue and no spectacle, he carried the story almost entirely on his own. He learned to use silence, fatigue, and restrained emotion to express isolation in ways few performers ever manage. Over time, his long-standing collaboration with Steven Spielberg further deepened that craft. Projects such as Saving Private Ryan, Catch Me If You Can, The Terminal, and Bridge of Spies revealed how naturally Tom could balance intelligence, warmth, and gravity while remaining deeply relatable. Each role felt intentional, never careless or hollow. Beyond live action, he quietly reshaped voice acting itself. As Woody in Pixar's Toy Story, he transformed a simple animated figure into a symbol of loyalty, growth, and emotional awareness. Through voice alone, he reached new generations, proving that storytelling power is not limited by age, format, or medium. His influence extended even further behind the camera. As a producer, writer, and director, Hanks committed himself to historical storytelling through projects like Band of Brothers, The Pacific, and Masters of the Air. These were not created for spectacle. They were carefully constructed reflections, grounded in realism, restraint, and respect for difficult truths often softened or ignored. These works reveal his deep regard for history and his focus on honoring ordinary people placed in extraordinary circumstances. Entertainment was never the sole aim. Authenticity mattered. He wanted stories to feel grounded, sincere, and faithful to the lives they portrayed. That dedication expanded his impact far beyond acting and helped redefine how serious stories could be told on television. Long before he became one of the most trusted faces in American entertainment, his first real breakthrough came on television. That is where audiences first noticed his rare blend of charm, timing, and emotional honesty. From 1980 to 1982, Hanks stepped into the spotlight as a co-lead on the ABC sitcom Bosom Buddies. The role went beyond humor. It quietly revealed intelligence, sensitivity, and depth uncommon in sitcom performances. Week after week, viewers watched him balance awkward comedy with genuine warmth, turning the show into a national introduction. As his career accelerated, that sense of trust followed him, and Saturday Night Live continued to invite him back. Hosting the show 10 times is a rare distinction, reserved for performers who can guide a live audience with confidence and precision. Each appearance demonstrated Hanks's ability to move effortlessly between sharp humor, quiet sincerity, and unpredictable moments, never losing his footing. Behind the scenes, his choices were just as deliberate. He quietly reshaped television storytelling by launching his own production company, Playtone. At a time when cinematic ambition was still uncommon on television, he helped bring large-scale, carefully crafted narratives to the small screen. These projects were not shortcuts, they elevated expectations. In 1998, From the Earth to the Moon expanded both technical ambition and emotional range, setting a new standard. That momentum continued with Band of Brothers, a series that transformed how large historical events were explored on television. It was followed by John Adams in 2008, then The Pacific, the politically focused Game Change in 2012, and the deeply intimate, character-driven Olive Kitteridge in 2015. Each project carried the same quiet signature: careful research, emotional depth, respect for the people behind the stories. Recognition followed naturally. Awards accumulated and praise grew steady until Tom's influence behind the camera became impossible to overlook. Never content to remain in a single space, he took another measured step by moving onto the Broadway stage. In 2013, he made his theatrical debut in Nora Ephron's Lucky Guy, proving his presence did not depend on editing or close-ups. Live audiences responded immediately, and critics followed. The performance earned him a Tony Award nomination for Best Actor in a Play, confirming his rare ability to move between television, film, and theater without losing authenticity or connection. While his professional life expanded publicly, Tom Hanks's personal life unfolded more quietly. His relationships and family choices reflected the same emotional nuance seen on screen, without the surrounding noise.
In 1978, he married American actress Samantha Lewis, born Susan Jane Dillingham. Both were still finding their direction, having met while studying theater. Their bond formed long before recognition arrived, during years shaped by auditions, uncertainty, financial strain, and the quiet persistence that comes before lasting success. Their relationship began long before recognition arrived, before awards, headlines, or outside expectations shaped their lives. It was grounded in shared ambition, uncertainty, and the daily reality of pursuing creative work that had not yet found stability. Those early years formed an emotional foundation that developed alongside Tom's gradual rise in Hollywood. Together, they built a family while success was still distant. Life during that period was not polished or effortless. It was defined by responsibility, persistence, and the challenge of balancing aspiration with practical demands. The future remained unclear, and while recognition had not yet arrived, the pressure of pursuing it was already present. The marriage brought 2 children into their lives. Their son, Colin Hanks, grew up witnessing his father's steady climb, observing the discipline and effort that preceded visibility. In time, Colin established his own place in film and television, earning respect through consistency and craft rather than association alone. Their daughter, Elizabeth Ann Hanks, born in 1982, was raised largely outside public attention. Though she has occasionally shared thoughtful reflections through writing and public commentary, her life has remained intentionally private, shaped more by personal experience than public scrutiny. Despite shared history and commitment, the marriage gradually grew strained. As the 1980s progressed and Tom's career accelerated, constant travel, long hours, and emotional distance became increasingly difficult to manage. The demands of work placed quiet pressure on their bond, creating fractures that could not be easily repaired. Years later, a deeply difficult chapter returned when Samantha Lewis faced a long and serious illness. She passed away in 2002 at the age of 49, an event that carried lasting emotional weight for Tom and their children. It reopened memories from an earlier period of their lives and brought quiet attention back to a shared history that had shaped them all. Tom has always approached that part of his past with care and restraint. When he speaks of Samantha, it is with respect and dignity, recognizing her importance as the mother of his first 2 children and as someone who shared a formative chapter of his life. He never allowed that story to become spectacle, choosing instead to keep it grounded and deeply human. Tom first met actress Rita Wilson in 1981 on the set of Bosom Buddies. At the time, their connection remained friendly and uncomplicated. Nothing was rushed, nothing dramatic, yet a sense of familiarity lingered quietly in the background as life moved forward. Several years later, in 1985, they worked together again on the film Volunteers, and something shifted. What developed between them was steady rather than sudden. It grew from mutual respect, shared humor, emotional understanding, and an ease that felt natural. Rita, who comes from Greek and Bulgarian heritage, was raised within the Greek Orthodox tradition, a faith that had long shaped her sense of identity. Tom later made the personal decision to embrace Greek Orthodoxy himself. It was not a public gesture, but a private and sincere spiritual choice. He has spoken of faith as a place for reflection rather than certainty, a space where questions are allowed to exist alongside belief. For him, meaning was found in holding life's contrasts together, joy and hardship, clarity and doubt. In return, Tom has openly credited Rita with helping him grow into a more attentive partner, a more present father, and a more grounded individual. He has often suggested that true strength does not come from recognition alone, but from stability, accountability, and personal growth. As Tom Hanks' public image continued to solidify, the attention surrounding him naturally deepened as well. With greater visibility came closer observation. The further he moved into Hollywood's most influential circles, the more interest formed around the people he worked with, the partnerships he maintained, and the relationships that endured over time. Recognition does not bring admiration alone, it also brings scrutiny. Long-standing professional connections began to draw quiet curiosity, not because of controversy, but because of their consistency. One name frequently mentioned in industry conversations is Rob Reiner. Their professional relationship stretches back decades, shaped through shared work, thoughtful collaboration, and mutual respect that largely unfolded away from public view. Nothing dramatic was ever stated openly. Instead, observers often described a close creative understanding, one that influenced decisions made privately rather than publicly. Tom was frequently seen working alongside directors and producers who carried significant influence, individuals known for shaping projects with care and authority. These connections were not accidental. They reflected long-term professional trust built over years. Hollywood operates on relationships, and Tom understood that environment well. Over time, some observers noted how carefully he navigated moments of public tension. While others faced prolonged attention, he often moved forward quietly, without lingering distraction. That consistency did not go unnoticed.
Tom has always presented himself with composure. In conversations, he chose words thoughtfully, avoided public volatility, and remained distant from unnecessary drama. That restraint helped shape his enduring image as a steady and dependable presence. Within the industry, however, it is widely understood that such balance is rarely achieved by chance alone. Sustained respect over decades demands more than ability alone. It demands awareness, timing, and the discipline to know when restraint matters most. Tom learned that balance early, and he maintained it with quiet consistency. It allowed him to move steadily forward while others struggled under the weight of visibility. His collaborations continued to accumulate, each one reinforcing trust within the industry. Directors knew he would bring stability to a set. Studios understood he would protect the integrity of a project. Audiences sensed reliability and emotional steadiness they could return to again and again. That rare combination placed him in a position few ever reach. As the years passed, longtime admirers began revisiting old interviews and public appearances with renewed attention. Small pauses, careful phrasing, and measured responses took on new meaning. Nothing provocative, nothing improper, simply communication shaped with intention. Tom rarely rushed to address speculation or lingering questions. Silence, when chosen carefully, became a form of protection.
While others responded emotionally to shifting narratives, he remained composed, allowing time to soften moments that might otherwise linger. That steadiness kept focus where he preferred it, on work, craft, and storytelling. Even as broader industry conversations grew louder, Tom positioned himself just far enough from the noise, guiding attention back to familiar ground. This was not avoidance, it was precision. Those close to him often described a deep awareness of how perception functions in Hollywood. He understood that how something appears can carry as much weight as what is true. That awareness shaped everything, from the projects he accepted to the moments he chose to share publicly, and the people who stood beside him when the lights were brightest. How does someone remain widely respected for so long? How does tension seem to pass without leaving lasting traces? These questions do not accuse, they simply observe, and they linger. What becomes clear over time is this: Tom Hanks did not merely endure Hollywood, he learned how to move within it with care, guided by talent, discipline, and thoughtfully chosen loyalty. He built a career that remained steady while the industry around him shifted again and again. And as the years pass, attention no longer rests solely on the films. People now notice patterns, relationships, and the long arc that shaped one of the most enduring figures in modern entertainment. Together, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson raised two sons, each choosing a very different direction. Growing up under constant public awareness, their eldest, Chester, known publicly as Chet Hanks, stepped directly into visibility. He pursued work in music and acting, developing a public identity that often drew significant media attention. In 2011, Chet released a rap song, signaling a desire to be recognized on his own terms rather than through family association alone. He later appeared in recurring television roles, demonstrating a commitment to building an independent career. His path has not followed a straight line. It has reflected ambition, experimentation, and moments of very public personal challenge, all unfolding under a level of attention few experience so early in life. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson have spoken openly about those challenges, choosing support over silence. They emphasized family loyalty, accountability, and the importance of growth through difficult moments, making it clear that progress matters more than perfection. Their younger son, Truman Theodore Hanks, born in 1995, chose a very different path. He remained largely outside the spotlight, focusing on work behind the scenes in filmmaking rather than public attention. His approach was quiet, deliberate, and grounded. In a rare on-screen moment, Truman portrayed a younger version of his father's character in A Man Called Otto in 2022.
The appearance was understated and personal, reflecting creative continuity without turning it into spectacle. That moment quietly suggested a shared storytelling thread within the Hanks family, linking generations through craft rather than attention. At this stage of life and career, Tom Hanks speaks with the calm clarity that only decades of experience provide. When reflecting on figures who have shaped modern Hollywood storytelling, he speaks without hesitation. When Rob Reiner's name comes up, as Hanks puts it, Rob is one of those rare figures who understands entertainment isn't about ego, it's about empathy. He explains that if you do not care about the people on screen, the audience never will. That belief, he suggests, is why Reiner's films continue to resonate across generations, long after trends shift and numbers lose relevance. For Hanks, Reiner's strength lies in respect rather than control. He respects actors, writers, and the story itself. Rob listens, Hanks says, and then adds that it sounds simple, but it's not. He listens to the script, he listens to the cast, and he listens to the story. When you work with someone like that, Hanks says, it changes everything. You feel protected. Rob Reiner creates a space where creative risk feels safe, where performers can explore vulnerability without fear of being judged or rushed. That kind of environment does not happen by accident. It comes from someone who understands the weight of standing on both sides of the camera. Reflecting on Reiner's legacy, Tom Hanks points to the emotional honesty that quietly runs through every one of his films. Rob never chases cynicism, Hanks says. Even when the stories are humorous, romantic, or dramatic, there is always a belief in people striving to do the right thing. Hanks believes that sincerity is why audiences continue to trust Reiner. When you sit down to watch one of his films, you're not being pulled or pushed, you're being invited in. He also acknowledges the courage it takes to remain committed to that philosophy in an industry that often rewards volume over subtlety. Hollywood favors speed, spectacle, and constant motion. Reiner chose clarity instead. In a time shaped by distraction, his dedication to character-driven storytelling feels more vital than ever. He reminds audiences that a well-told story can resonate just as deeply as any technical achievement. That's a lesson I've carried my entire career, Hanks notes. With the benefit of hindsight, he speaks of Reiner not only as a filmmaker, but as a standard-bearer. Rob set a bar, not just for storytelling, but for how people are treated in the process. For Tom Hanks, that may be the most enduring truth of all. Recognition fades, attention shifts, and careers rise and fall, but integrity remains. Rob Reiner showed that you don't have to surrender one to achieve the other, and that message still quietly echoes through an industry that often forgets. If this story resonated with you, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. A simple like helps these stories reach others, and subscribing allows you to keep traveling through time with us. See you in the next story.